Donkey Kong 64 will never make it to the Nintendo Switch. The reason being very simple. It requires the expansion pack. There's nowhere to put this on the Switch.
If you're experiencing tons of glitches, you're probably not playing it on the original hardware, so that's on you.
Or you don't have the
expansion pack.
Alright, this was an obvious bad joke. Majora's Mask being one of the other 3 games to require this little pack, and obviously, it's available to play on NSO. But what gives? Where's my DK64 at? To join me on this conversation is my buddy Jiggy Lookback. If for some reason you aren't subscribed to him, you really ought to head over to his channel and do that now. His videos are entertaining, creative, and if you like rare games, he's your guy. We spent 2 hours discussing all the reasons why we haven't seen the Banana Bunch on the current Nintendo console, as well as other similar topics such as our love for the Kongs, similar rare games, and much, much more. So here's a cut down conversation around this main question. Where is Donkey Kong 64? Why is it not on the Nintendo Switch Online pack?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Why is this game not on NSO? What a fantastic question, because I wrestle with this all the time.
Yeah.
It's one of those games that's even more bizarre because they already put it on Wii U.
Right.
And it's not like Banjo where Rare owns the character and they have to do some sort of licensing thing. They own Donkey Kong. They own Diddy Kong. It baffles me. It baffles me. This game is like, I mean, I love it, obviously. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you love it. There's a lot of people that, naysay, but I feel like there's a growing amount of people that are like, I want this on NSO.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen more and more. I'm wondering if they're going to do something like a year of Donkey Kong, kind of what they did like with Luigi.
Oh,
and
okay.
I have this sneaky suspicion that they're saving this particular game for like a very special release.
Yeah.
I know they have Donkey Kong Country Returns HD coming. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's what it is, but I can't help but feel like maybe there's some sort of Donkey Kong game coming and they're going to just go ape and release everything,
Yeah.
That's my theory. That's what I'm running with because I see no reason why this game, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's like top 4 Nintendo properties on the N64 that should have been on the N64 before. So, I mean, we get Iggy's Wrecking Ball. In what world do we get Iggy's Wrecking Balls before Donkey Kong 64 on a Nintendo service?
Apparently,
it doesn't
make
sense. It doesn't make sense.
No.
There's got to be a reason. And if that reason is DK64 too, I'll be completely okay with that.
Yes. You know what? That's a great way to put it because I do think good things come to those who are patient. Okay, I can wait a little longer, but give us something.
I'm a rare fan. I have nothing but patience.
Yeah.
And like all my favorite games, I've been waiting for sequels since like the late 90s.
Oh, waiting forever. I really like your theory. It's definitely more positive than my theory.
What's your theory?
Well, I mean, my theory is more just kind of a bummer. I guess it's a string of different theories, but I kind of get a sense that Nintendo doesn't know what to do with Donkey Kong. Rare ran with Donkey Kong games for a good while. Banger after banger, great game after great game, and then with the Microsoft purchase, I feel like that put Nintendo in a weird place where they're like, okay, well, the people making our Donkey Kong games aren't really able to now. What should we do? Obviously, we've had other games since then, some of the biggest ones, like you mentioned, being Country Returns, Tropical Freeze, but I'm still just kind of getting the sense that they're not sure what to do next, and it just keeps drifting away. You know what I mean? Time just keeps going, and I'm like, all right, HD remakes are nice, ports to the Switch are nice, but when are we going to get something new? I have this hunch that Country Returns needs to do really well in sales in order for us to see more Donkey Kong games. I get this fear with what happened with F-Zero, where F-Zero games sales-wise didn't do super well in the late 2000s, early 2010s, whenever the last few games were. And I think Nintendo took that as a wrong sign of, I guess the fans don't want these games anymore. Even though today people still talk a lot about F-Zeros, they still would love a new game. And I just have a bad feeling that maybe they are seeing from their perspective the same happen to Donkey Kong.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. And F-Zero, I mean, all we've gotten is F-Zero 99. Yeah, I mean, Donkey Kong, at least it's getting something. I feel like Donkey Kong and Star Fox are in the same boat right now.
Yeah.
Where they're both like these, I would say, secondary Nintendo IPs.
Yeah.
And they're up there, but Nintendo's been focusing a lot on sort of the party game aspect. And I don't mean like Mario Party, I mean that too. But like games that like focus more on a multiplayer sort of thing rather than single player. They still have the single player aspect with like Zelda.
Right.
And Mario Odyssey, things like that. But I feel like they're really focusing more on like Splatoon.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mario Kart, Smash Bros, you know, and I love all those games. But yeah, those single player experiences that really kind of drove the N64 in particular. Although we did have, you know, banging multiplayer games. Like, don't get me wrong, that's where Super Smash Bros got its start. And,
right, yeah.
But, you know, DK64 is a great multiplayer Nintendo.
Right.
Like, bring it back. But I don't know. I just have this sneaky suspicion that there's something happening. I don't know. What anniversary are we on in Donkey Kong?
43 years ago. Oh my goodness. It's old, man.
Yeah.
It's an old game. I mean, that's the thing. Donkey Kong 64 is approaching its 25th anniversary as we're having this conversation. So that's what has me kind of tying all this together, where it's like, we got like what's probably their oldest video game series. Like, what are we doing with Donkey Kong? There's no way that they're going to let like their oldest character sit on the sidelines, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
You know, I also think about just like, first of all, at the time, DK64 was well praised. When you look at the sales of 64 games, DK64 was the 7th most sold N64 game, over 5 million copies. So it's like, what? How is the number 7th most sold game of that console not on here?
Yeah, I wonder, this is me like, this would be the holy grail. This would be the shoot for the stars dream, the amazing what if.
Yeah.
What if they are remaking this game? And that's why they haven't put it on NSO. Like, what if they announce DK64 like I don't know. What would they even call it? Re-bananaed?
Re-bananaed.
But just imagine that. They remake it and then they launch it side by side with the NSO N64 version. And they're like, you can play the classic version as well. Like, that'd be kind of cool.
That would be really cool.
You'd see an uptick in like comparisons and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it would have people talking for sure. I know there'd be people, because people are having this conversation right now with Country Returns, who are like, well, why would I if I could still play the original, or just the comparisons in visuals and gameplay? But that's the thing, it gets people talking. And that's what I think any company would want, that free publicity.
Yeah, and DK64, it's just so ripe for the picking. I mean, this is a game. They put Banjo-Kazooie on there, okay?
Seriously.
Which is like amazing. It's awesome. It's a Rare game. And then they started adding more from Rare's catalog, and they added Blast Corps, they added Perfect Dark, they added GoldenEye, and now everyone's like, where's Banjo-Tooie? Where's DK64? Where's Diddy Kong Racing?
Right.
I still, like, I can't help but feel like the fact Diddy Kong Racing is also omitted, like both of those games, Kong-based, and it makes me think that they're doing some sort of Kong-tacular, like maybe it's to get people to join the service when they launch a Switch 2.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I just can't help but feel it, but I don't feel like it's not going to come to NSO in some way. I mean, it might not be this generation of NSO.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they'll keep adding it to, I don't know how they're going to play that out. It depends how Nintendo like utilizes their online services with the next console.
Right.
I'm assuming they're going to keep just adding to the library, and it'll functionally be the same on both consoles.
Yeah. One thing that comes to mind to me is that it really is such a head scratcher with the Rare aspect of things. Like, a couple of years ago, I think we all had this similar thought of, well, Rare was involved with this, even though Nintendo owns Donkey Kong, but maybe there's something tied to that and like licensing. But no, then we got Banjo, then we got GoldenEye, we got other games, and that kind of threw that completely out the window. And I saw some comments online being like, well, it's still related to the licensing, but maybe because like there's Jetpack.
I knew that's where that was going.
Yeah, just like if they would have to remove the rare elements of it, which is still like, that can't be that big of a headache. Especially for Diddy Kong Racing, we have the DS remake. They completely removed Banjo and Conquer. They could easily just take that version of it and bring it to NSO.
No, they can't.
I wouldn't want that. No.
We're not planting that seed. Nope. Original or bust.
We're vetoing that, yeah.
Yes.
I still can't get over it. It's on the Wii U. It's on the last console.
Yeah, and so that makes me wonder, is the emulation, like the memory leak glitch that happens with DK64, is that an issue with emulation? Because I believe on the Wii U it was still an issue.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, like it was something with save states. Like if you had a save state and you played for more than, it's something stupid like 10 hours, it can cause the game to crash. Or no, okay, I just looked it up. 13 to 20 hours into the game. So it's like, because you use save states, you're not actually resetting the game. Like it can happen in the actual game, but it doesn't, because you save and you turn off your console and then you reboot it. But because with save states you're not doing that, it causes an issue. It's like, is it that complicated to fix? I don't know, but does it add a little layer? Yes.
That is a good. Okay, that's valid. That is super valid. That's the very like behind the scenes thing that we don't necessarily consider. Or that's a great point. Shoot.
They have enough experience making games. I'm sure they can fix this small issue.
Right. Well, if there was a HD remake of DK64, what do you think that would be like?
I hope it would have the like fur textures that are just way over the top. That's the first thing I want. That's step one. Step two would be to make the N64 NSO controller compatible with it. So it plays just exactly the same. Big time. You can use the Pro controller if you want. I don't care, but I would rather use the N64 controller.
Yeah.
High res, obviously.
Of course.
Like ray tracing on the lighting in DK64 that's already super moody would just make it way better.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing, but I know we don't get that with the current Switch. But if we got one with the next Switch, that'd be dope.
That would be dope.
I'd also love to see some like new content.
Ooh.
Which is something that's like, with stuff like this, there's a high potential for that.
Of course,
like, you could add, you could officially play as Crusher in the main game or something.
Oh, that would be so
You could
nice.
add a new Game Plus mode where you have to play as Crusher. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some sort of like K-Rules challenge or something. It's like a roguelite and you have to progress as a character and like get the upgrades really quick and like progress through battle arenas and mazes and like, I don't know. I got ideas.
Nintendo, jot this down.
But I also love the old graphics too. So like part of me has a hard time even imagining it being anything else.
Right. I mean, even if they did like a retro.
Yes, Tomb Raider did it right, because you could do like the up-res and it's just the visuals, just the retro
filter.
visuals. Yeah.
Just to be able to
so
swap back
cool.
and forth. Yeah. If they did an HD remake, do you think they would stick to the original version of Tiny Kong, or do you think they would use the modern version?
They have to stick to the original. The modern version is poopy, stinky garbage.
It's not good, and it completely changes the way the character functions.
It just wouldn't work. And I like that it kind of fits with their lore as far as like what she wants to be and how she wants to look. But it makes zero sense because her sister is like still small.
Yeah.
And like, why did she grow? It's like she's a totally different species of Kong.
Yeah.
Like a totally different species of monkey. Like, it makes no sense to me.
It's so wrong, man. She really went from being like one of the boys to this, and I can't believe the decisions that were made. We need to go back, undo.
Yeah. Yeah. So now that leads to another question. Do you think if they ever remade this game, if they would implement some of the quality of life things that mods have created, like the Tag Anywhere mod.
I was having the same thought, man. I would hope that they would do some of that. I would love to see quality of life stuff kind of be treated and sprinkled out through the game, because when you play the mods, they kind of reveal how fun this game actually is, how good it can be. I would really hope so, though, because I think Tag Anywhere is the biggest quality of life that changes the game from good to great.
I've always been in the camp of not necessarily the Tag Anywhere mod, just because I think tag barrels are pretty accessible throughout the game.
Yeah.
So it's never been dramatic, but I think that the banana, like the colored bananas, their layout in particular is a problem.
Okay.
So it's either A, fix the layout, or B, just make them all like yellow and every Kong can collect that specific colored banana. Mm-hmm. Might take some of the fun out of it, which is why maybe it should be just the layout altered so that it's not like you're running down a pathway and you're collecting yellow bananas as DK and then it randomly switches to blue. And you're like, but I'm DK on this path. Why would it just randomly switch all of a sudden?
I see.
That one change would probably negate a lot of the switching issues.
Yeah, big time.
The question is, would they make their differences like more apparent?
Ooh.
Like, would they make Chunky way slower, but way stronger? And would they make Diddy way faster, but weaker?
That is a great question, yeah.
It's more subtle, but then you'd have like DK and Lanky that are kind of more balanced, I guess.
Right.
Whereas Lanky would have the range where DK would have more up close and personal.
That would be really fascinating. I mean, you could really subtle differences, but enough to feel it. But imagine if Chunky's pineapple gun takes out an enemy in one hit versus like Lanky's or Diddy's. They're little grapes and peanuts that could take a lot longer to shoot down an enemy.
Oh, you think too small, my friend. You think too small. What if Diddy's could fire way faster like an SMG? And it's just like boom, 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 boom. I guess Lanky's would be the sniper because it's like the blowgun. So Lanky's would be a sniper. So if you like hit him in the head, it's like an instant KO.
Ooh.
Chunky's could have an explosion effect, so it could break down walls. It could break things open. The coconut, it could split and shoot multiple shells.
Yeah.
Like it cracks and it just like blasts out like a shotgun.
Like he originally had.
Yeah. Like I think that kind of stuff separate them even more. I mean, at this point, I feel like I'm talking a sequel because you're changing the fundamentals of the game.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I'd love to see less obvious, like don't put their faces on the pads and make it like weight based.
Ooh.
And you have certain ones that you like, oh, Chunky can't get in here because he hits it too hard.
Yeah.
And oh, Tiny can't get in here because she hits it too light.
Too light.
You know? And then it's like you have to balance it out. But you could potentially get in if you played as DK or Chunky. Like either one of those could probably get it, or like Diddy and Tiny could probably get it, and then Lanky's just the weird third wheel. I don't know.
Yeah, that's really smart, man. All of this just has me thinking a sequel. It just makes like even more sense, because if we're gonna essentially like resculpt DK64, then it's like, then what's stopping us from doing a sequel? Let's go.
I got so many ideas. I could just write them. Nintendo. I will create an entire spreadsheet of what you should do to make DK64 2 like super creative, super like I can do this.
Hire the man. Come on.
It will be good. I will do it for free. I don't need anything. You can put my name in the credits. That's all I want.
They got to give us early copies so that we can play them online and get people hyped for it.
Yes. Yes.
Even if it was early game alone, to be like the one of only people on the internet for a period of time, to be like, I played the DK64 sequel. Mm-hmm. People be like, what? What are you talking about?
I like the idea of throwing it back a little bit to Donkey Kong Country, but I don't like how focused and narrow-minded they got, because I feel like Donkey Kong Country was super creative when it came out.
Yeah.
And then it was like every iteration they were just refining Donkey Kong Country and trying to get it like a little, like do a little bit more, do a little bit more.
I see.
And then finally they're like, oh, let's put out DK64, which is totally out of left field, totally different. Follows the banjo formula more, but it's still different. I want them to get weird. I don't want them to go back to this format and get stale.
Yeah.
Like, I want a world where DK Country lives, and I want a world where DK64, like 3D Donkey Kong lives at the same time.
Right.
Like, I want both. I want both.
Let them be their own respective
Just like
games.
Mario.
Right.
Just like Mario. Mario has Mario Wonder, and it also had Mario Odyssey. Like, both games, I love both games. But I wouldn't want to lose one for the other.
Oh my
but
gosh,
if I had to pick, I would still lose Mario Wonder and keep Odyssey.
Yeah.
I love the 3D.
Oh, that's
Zelda has multiple iterations.
Right. That is a great point. They don't need to be locked into each other. They can be their own unique, crazy thing that doesn't spill into the other.
Yeah, exactly. DK64 too. Come on. Let's call it DK 128.
128.
Yeah, we're just gonna double it because it feels right. My perspective of Nintendo and their like releasing of games, I'm never usually disappointed. Like, I feel like they always have something good in the works consistently with a vast majority of their franchises. And it feels like when I'm missing one, like the next generation will have enough games in that series to make up for it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like Metroid, like we went on a mad drought for Metroid for a while, and then Switch brought it back.
A lot, yeah.
Like F-Zero, yeah, we've been in a mad drought since GameCube, really. Mm-hmm. But we did get F-Zero 99, and I feel like that's testing the waters to see if F-Zero is viable.
Exactly, yeah.
And maybe we'll see it. Star Fox, a little concerning.
Yeah.
But they clearly are like moving toward their franchises that really make the money, which is Mario and Zelda.
Yeah.
Like those are the two top tier Nintendo things. So they focus a lot of effort in those with these other projects in the background. Mm-hmm. Like they're not the front focus. We had how many Zelda games on the Switch?
I'm seeing 8 games if you want to consider the Hyrule Warriors stuff.
Oh, I forgot about Hyrule Warriors. Yeah.
Yeah.
Remade
That's a
that.
lot.
That's a lot for one franchise, but that's clearly what they're focusing on. And then how many Donkey Kong games did we get? We got a remake of a Wii U game, and we're getting Country Returns. So that's 2.
And they're not original, like brand new games. They're remakes and ports.
They're remakes.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is my argument. It's like HD remakes, ports, fantastic. I will happily accept that. I don't want that to replace new games. And this is
agree.
where like I have a little frustration with Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, where's our remake? Folks on Twitter where I'm like, I get it, guys. I want you to have bigger, better, new games. I mean, here we are wanting exactly what they're saying with Donkey Kong, but I do think it's a little different because Donkey Kong has not seen a lot of new in recent years. So it's that kind of like, what's going on, Nintendo? What are we doing with Donkey Kong?
I feel like there's a few ways to look at it though with this game in particular. Okay, so like even disregarding Donkey Kong, this is a unique Donkey Kong game within the Donkey Kong series.
Right.
So it's valid to want a remake, especially when it released in the 90s.
Yeah.
You know, and we're kind of in this like time frame of games in the 90s getting remade.
Exactly.
And we're in this like sweet spot of we should totally do that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we also have this viable like Nintendo branded app on their Nintendo console playing these particular 90s Nintendo games, and they haven't put their Donkey Kong game on it.
Right.
And it's bizarre. I know they're doing the slow trickle thing, and I know that they could move faster if they wanted to. It's just a slow trickle, and they just do enough to just keep you interested and keep the service.
Well, it's also the like nostalgia, not just the nostalgia factor, but I believe there's a window of what is currently like most nostalgic, and I'm not sure if we're still on N64 games. It definitely has been for a handful of years. I think it might be trickling into GameCube titles now. Either way, nostalgia hits hard, especially for us in this age range. You put an N64 title up on NSO, you can bet I'm gonna be on there. I'm gonna play it. Well, that's the funny thing though, because I actually did not know about the Rare Replay bundle. I think celebrating the Xbox 20th anniversary. I didn't know that until I was looking up more research for this conversation, and I was like, okay, wow. What if Donkey Kong might be going through a similar thing? Potentially, they're gonna have a DK replay kind of like the Mario
that'd be cool.
3D All-Stars, right? They've like, all right, here's 64 Sunshine Galaxy. Boom. It'd be really interesting if they did that here with DK.
Yeah, that would be really cool, but you know that they would exclude DK64 for whatever reason. They'd be like the DK Country Collection.
Right.
And would have every game, including the new like remake of Donkey Kong Country Returns and like Tropical Freeze, all of them. And then DK64 would be nowhere in sight. That's what they do.
What comes to mind to me is, all right, exclude Donkey Kong Country games. What comes next to fans? What comes next where you're like, oh, I want to play that Donkey Kong game? If the country games are off the table, what would be next? You know what I mean? Like
Donkey Kong Jr.
in the arcade.
Yeah, no, it definitely would be Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah.
I feel like Donkey Kong 64 is very appreciated, but...
Because, like, I don't think people will be jumping to, there's the Bongo
Donkey
DDR.
Konga.
Donkey Konga, yeah.
Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. If they did remake that, they would just get rid of the bongo function.
Exactly, yeah. I guess it's like a priority list, right? It's like, obviously the country games, of course. What would they prioritize next? And that's what has you thinking like, dude, it's gotta be 64. How would it not be?
Been saying that for a long time, though.
You might be saying it for a while.
Been waiting for Banjo 3E for... I mean, I guess I technically been waiting for Donkey Kong 64 2, Part 2.
Right.
128.
Right.
I've been waiting for that even longer, but in my mind, I've been waiting for Banjo 3E and been burned so many times.
Exactly.
And I'm just like so desensitized to that. But
I mean, both are very deserving of another game.
Yeah, the formula's not dead. There was a time where I think the saturation of platformers toward the end of the N64 life really like hurt the chances of a game like this coming out. But I feel like we're really in this renaissance of 3D platformers. Like, think about how many are being remade. Crash, Croc is coming back, for crying out loud. So many of these classic 3D platformers, and they're like doing well. People are excited about it. And it's like, we need to just keep the momentum.
Big time. Not just like old and remakes, but new too, which is why I'm so fond of Yooka-Laylee. It's why I love seeing Astrobot. I don't have a PS5, but I've watched footage and I'm like, this is fun. We need more of this.
I'm just thankful the games that did get sequels.
Exactly.
Like Conquer didn't get a sequel either.
That's brutal, dude.
I mean, they remade it the next generation though. So it did get further than Donkey Kong 64, but...
It was remade on Xbox?
Yeah. Live and Reloaded is a remake of Bad Fur Day.
Oh, I see.
They did release like a weird Conqueror's Reunion, which was like part of Xbox's wannabe game engine making game.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
But they released that, and then it failed, so they only released like one episode of this Conquer Reunion thing, and then that was it.
It hurts, man. You got these beloved characters, beloved games, and they just sit and then like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing? Where's the new Banjo? Where's the new Donkey Kong?
Right.
Get with Nintendo.
It's the kind of thing where, because it's a very like one-sided conversation, I guess, and it has me wishing that there would be like maybe once a year even where we can gather up all our questions, whether it be a like Shigeru Miyamoto Reddit AMA or I don't even know, a live stream, and the chat could pop in their questions. All right, where is Donkey Kong 64 remake? Where is Banjo 3? These kind of questions that we can just, all right, we need the answers. Can we please get to the bottom of this?
See? And this is why they don't do it, because they know that's what we're going to ask and they don't want to do it. For whatever reason, they don't want to do it. And I'm like, why don't you get a team of like 5 people from your collective team that you already have, like 5 people, make them start working on stuff like this. Like just give them time to do that. Like you can focus on the other things that make you money. I was like, but at least have something cooking in the background.
Right.
Like, this is atrocious. Like, these games are gems.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're locking them to one console, and I don't like it. I don't like that.
No.
You never lock something to a specific console. Just don't do it. Release the game in some form. That's where I'm at with DK64. Like, just re-release it somehow. NSO, great. Remake, even better.
Even better. The game deserves it.
So much time and love went into this game, and there's a whole generation of kids that probably haven't played this because it's not accessible to them.
This is why emulation is so heavy in the conversation, because if I don't have a way to play an old game legitimately, it's like Nintendo, I want to give you money. Why are you making it so hard for me to give you money?
Well, that's just a couple ideas as to why the Banana Bunch might be taking a back seat during this time. Whether we're right or wrong, we still hope to play DK64 on the current console in the near future. A big thank you to Jiggy Lookback for joining me in Donkey Kong December. Give him some love and support by watching his videos and subscribing. And thank you for making it to the end of this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We would love to know your theories as to why we haven't seen DK64. Thanks and take care.